Let me see. Streaming live on YouTube, but I'm also streaming on whatupsuper.com. So you can go ahead and intro. Here is the intro music. Uh, that's not it. Where is it at? It's blah, 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 blah. Where's the damn? Oh, here you go. We live? Oh, we not live. Hold on. See, it's always fucking up some shit. I got start over. There we go. We live. We live. Oh, what up, super.com? Bo. What up, what up, what up? It's the one and only Super Tim. I'm here with an edition of District Sports Talk, where we talk about the sports from the nation's capital, the District of Columbia. And today, I want to touch on the resurgence of Washington basketball and Washington football. But I would also like to keep fans aware of the fact that despite all the changes, all the new stuff, all the trades, all the signings, all the draft picks, that we might not even make the playoffs. You mean wham. Let me stop this. I'm the one on the Super Tim. And it's interesting if you're a Washington Commanders fan, if you're a Washington Wizards fan, and to see stuff happening. I mean, we just signed one of the best wide receivers in the league, Stephon Diggs, to go along with McLaurin. And we already got Jaden Daniels. And you see what the team was like when everybody was healthy. And even in 2024, when we made it to the NFC Championship, that's not a lot of the same team. That team was full of veterans, young quarterback, a lot of veteran players. Last season, a lot of those veteran players who was older kind of showed their age and wasn't playing as well. Has some injuries, obviously, to the main guy, Jaden Daniels. But despite Jaden Daniels healthy, Terry McLaurin good, Stephon Diggs, oh yeah, we got a solid offensive line. We improved on the defense that had some struggles last year because they was old. You'd be like, oh yeah, we're gonna be good. Back to the NFC Championship, Super Bowl. Pump your brakes. Do I have a pump your brakes sound? No, I gotta do my sounds. That's just one. Because if you just look at last year's, I'm gonna make this quick. This ain't gonna be like no hour show. I'm gonna get straight to the shit. If you look at last year's NFC playoff teams, it included one, the reigning Super Bowl champions. Outside of losing Kenneth Walker, ain't too many changes to that Super Bowl team. And if you think about it, Kenneth Walker wasn't even the number one guy. So let's keep that in mind. So I'm gonna give you a warning. I'm gonna be talking to my phone. I was supposed to be doing my research and taking down all these notes and everything. We ain't doing that. We're gonna talk to Google as we do the show, and Google is going to give us the information I need going throughout the show. So we're gonna start off talking to Google and saying, who's the Seattle Seahawks running backs in 2025? So they had Kenneth Walker III, Zach Charbonnet, Velus Jones Jr., and George Is this last year's? Is this last year's? George Holland. Uh, and Zach Charbonnet was, I mean, it was him and Kenny that was kind of sharing the load until he had an ACL injury and was out. When he's going to be back, I don't know. But they lost Kenneth, who was splitting time with Zach. And we will see Zach Charbonnet injury update. So he's on the pup list right now, which means he can miss up to the first 6 games. So now let's do this. Seattle Seahawks running backs depth chart 2026. So after losing Kenneth Walker and still having Charbonnet coming back off the ACL, they have Jadarian Price. Jadarian Price, a rookie from Notre Dame, that we're taking the first team reps. They still have George and Velas as well. So based on what I know about Jadarian Price, obviously played for Notre Dame. Notre Dame had a superstar back. And even though he was like the number 2 back, he has number 1 back skills. So they lose Kenny Walker, but they get Jadarian Price, who's younger, probably more talented, I don't know, to replace him as the starter. And then eventually you'll have you still have the same backups. You have your number 2 guy coming back after injury, and you'll be all good. Again, outside of that, you got Super Bowl champs still doing what they do. The Carolina Panthers, I'm going to come back to the Carolina Panthers. So, San Francisco 49ers. Let's touch on San Francisco 49ers. Let's also talk about the NFC West, right? Because the Seattle Seahawks is also in the NFC West with the 49ers and the Rams. There's 3 teams, 1 division, 7 spaces. Seattle's not going to win. San Francisco, as long as they are healthy, is going to be a threat for the playoffs, right? They just got Mike, I can't remember his name. I won't say Mike Owens, but that's my nephew. Mike Owens is literally my nephew. What's the name of the wide receiver that signed to the San Francisco 49ers from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Evans. I knew that. Evans, Owens, same thing. They've got Mike Evans. They do have a wide receiver that is out for the season that got injured early in preseason. Early in training camp. But if everybody else is healthy, Brock Purdy specifically is healthy, whenever Brock Purdy plays, they win. Let's look at this. Let's talk to Google. What is Brock Purdy's record as a starter? 35 and 18.
Brock Purdy's career record is 35 wins and 18 losses overall, including the playoffs. His regular season record is 30 wins and 15 losses.
Did you hear that? I might as well let her be the co-host. Brock Purdy, 30 and 15 in the regular season, 5 and 3 in the playoffs. He's played the NFC Championship game, things of that nature. So again, when he plays, they win 2 out of every 3 games. 2 out of every 3 games over 17 games schedule. That sounds like a team that's going to have enough wins to make playoffs. And then the Rams. You got the reigning MVP with the Rams. You got Myles Garrett. And boy, if Aaron Donald come back and play even half as good as he did before he retired, because he retired like on top of his shit. He wasn't some dude that retired because he couldn't do it no more. He retired because he was just like, I don't feel like it no more. For whatever reason, you win a ring and you were like, I'm good. Even though I'm still all pro, I'm good. So if he comes back and you add him to Miles Garrett with Puka Nakua and Matt Stafford, come on. So that looks like 3 spots locked up already. So first of all, you got 4 spots that's locked up by division winners. One of those out the NFC West. If you got 2 teams coming out the NFC West in addition to as wild cards, that leaves 1 spot left for everybody else. The other teams that made the playoffs last year was the Panthers, who won the division. The Bears won the division, and then the Packers. The Packers, Michael Parsons was going to miss some time with his injury, but they're only getting better. Jordan Love only gets better. The wide receivers only get better. The team in general only gets better. So the Packers over the last couple of years with Jordan Love, let's look at his record. What is Jordan Love's record as a starter?
Jordan Love's regular season record as a starting quarterback is 27 wins, 20 losses, and 1 tie.
27, 20, and 1. So he's pretty much 500. 0-1 in 2001 in relief. Then he became the starter in 2023. He was 9-8, 9-7 in 15 games. I mean, he missed some games. He missed some games. To injury at 9-7-1 last year as well. Yeah. So you gotta at least think that he's gonna have the Packers in the mix for playoffs. 9 wins pretty much gets it. It came down to like some tiebreakers for 9-7-1. Technically, is better than 9-8. Detroit and Minnesota was 9-8. Yeah. Detroit and Minnesota was 9-8, and having that tie is the one thing that got Packers into the playoffs as opposed to either Detroit or Minnesota. So Minnesota had some struggles. I mean, some injuries to the quarterback. They started out with JJ McCarthy. He got injured. They went with Carson Wentz. He got injured. So if you get some stability at the quarterback position, those 9 wins can easily be 11. So whether it's JJ McCarthy, who is playing better after getting some snaps, some starts under his belt, and staying healthy, or it's the new guy, Kyler Murray. It's going to be an upgrade from the quarterback position, either because Kyler Murray is just better than JJ, or just because JJ is a better player than he was last year. Just out of growth. You're a player, you play, you learn, you train, you work out on the off season, you get better. So they're going to be better, assumedly better at quarterback if they can just one stay healthy. Either one is going to make the team better just based on healthy. And the thing is, if somebody gets injured, you have 2 quality quarterbacks. So if one person gets injured, you don't have to worry about a drop off because both players can be starters. So you have 4 teams, division, Packers, Rams, 49ers was the wild card. Detroit and Minnesota could have easily made it to the playoffs if they just won one more game. Or if that tie for the Packers was a loss. So if the Packers ended up 9-8, maybe Detroit or Minnesota gets it. So you got Detroit, Minnesota that's right there on the cusp of making the playoffs last year. That ain't getting no worse. Detroit ain't getting no worse. Detroit is always, not always, but for the foreseeable future, as long as Jared Goff is there, there's no reason why Detroit can't be a winning team. Win more than they lose. 9+ wins, 10, 11 wins. You got Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive side, killing shit. Jared Goff and Amon St. Brown on the offensive side. Laporta. I won't say Laporta. I said Laporta. It got to be Spanish. Porta is a Spanish word, right? I call it La Puerta. Sam La Puerta. Oh yeah. So you got weapons on offense, you got weapons on defense, you got Campbell, the coach that's going to bite your kneecaps off and have everybody ready to scrap and claw and win. I mean, Washington played Detroit in the NFC Championship game 2024. They have the ability. They had a lot of injuries last year, and they still won 9 games. That says a lot. Again, all of these predictions and all of this information is based on um, full roster, full healthy roster. Now, the players already out for the season, obviously. We have to count them. People that's going to miss part of the season, like what's his name? I just said it. I be blanking. Excuse my blanking. What's the name of the linebacker that plays for the Green Bay Packers that was traded there from Dallas? Parsons. I'd be blanking and then just certain things bring all the information back. Michael Parsons was going to be out for at least the first 6 games. So we got to know those players. But all the players that are currently healthy right now, them playing healthy throughout the season. This is what all this is based off of. So we've already only been through the NFC West and NFC North. NFC South. The winner of the NFC South was Atlanta. Atlanta 9-8. You know who else was not? Oh no, it wasn't 9-8. It was 9-8, and I want to say that the last game of the season for the Panthers, you know what I said? Panthers won the division. Tampa Bay and Atlanta was 8-9. Panthers 9-8. Tampa Bay, Atlanta 8-9. So Tampa Bay did lose Mike Evans, but I feel like they still got enough weapons to challenge for a playoff spot. It was 8-9 last year. They can easily be 9-8, 10-7, making it difficult for that wild card spot. So you pretty much, again, 4 division winners make the playoffs, and then 3 wild cards. If San Francisco and the Rams are taking 2 of those wild card spots, you have Atlanta, Tampa, Minnesota, Detroit, Dallas, and Washington. That's 6 teams. Now, as far as Dallas is concerned, let me talk Dallas. We already know the offense is going to be on 1,000. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, dude, pick your poison. You better have a defense that's going to put on a lot of pressure and have good motherfuckers that can cover. There's not too many teams that got 2 solid cornerbacks that can minimize what their wide receivers can do. So you got to have a defensive line and a scheme that's going to put pressure on the quarterback to make it difficult for them to throw. It's one thing for you to not be able to cover the wide receiver, but if the quarterback can't get him the ball because he's under pressure, then it's irrelevant. So if you can get pressure on the quarterback, then you can minimize the need to have shutdown corners to go against CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. So you gotta understand, or you gotta believe that the Cowboys will be better. Defense was the issue. Offense was cool. Defense was the issue. They spent 2 first-round draft picks on defensive player, superstar safety from Ohio State, Caleb Downs, and they also got defensive lineman Malachi Lawrence to help with that offense. In the free agent market, they upgraded across the board. 2 new cornerbacks, 2 new safeties, 2 new defensive ends, as well as 2 new defensive linemen to help bolster that defense. The defense can be average. Just hold teams to 18 points. The offense is going to score 24. So if you get a defense that can do 18, 20 points a game, that ain't good, but it ain't bad either. It's average. If their defense can be average, the offense will be good enough to go from 7-9 to easily, or 7-9-1 to 10-7. That's only a couple more wins because the defense, instead of getting blown out, they actually playing well enough to hold the team to the high teens, low 20s, and then the offense going to do their thing. Offense tired because they always on the field because defense can't stop nobody or hold nobody, and people score. When you score fast, then the offense going right back out there. So now the offense can't do anything because they tired because y'all ain't give us time to rest. We just got off the field and did an 80-yard drive to score, and now 3 minutes later we back out because y'all just gave up a touchdown in 3 minute drive. No. Defensive improvement, you gotta assume with the improvements on the defense. Everybody talking about Caleb Downs alone is going to make a huge difference. That 9-7-1 can easily jump to 9-10-7. If you have teams like Detroit, Minnesota that was 9-8 and right outside the playoffs, the improved defense can get Cowboys 2 points. Why not? Atlanta 8-9, Tampa Bay 8-9. You have a new quarterback in Atlanta, Tua Tagovailoa, who has been an accurate quarterback, a very accurate quarterback. And he had Tyreek and Waddle. It was all over the place. You got Kyle Pitts, a tight end. You got Bijan Robinson, who just got a big contract at running back, who can catch out the backfield. And then you got Drake London. Boy, who are we going to stop? Who are you going to stop? 8-9 can easily turn into 10-7 with a new quarterback who can get the ball down the field to quick wide receivers, to tight ends who can catch, running backs who can get out of the backfield. So I'm looking at seven teams who made the playoffs last year could make the playoffs this year. You throw Dallas, Detroit, Minnesota, Tampa Bay. Where's my fingers at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players, 5 teams, I'm sorry, that can also compete for the playoffs. And that's not including Washington, who would be the 6th team, and New Orleans Saints quarterback. New Orleans, what was their record? I just saw New Orleans Saints 2025 record.
Saints ranked 4th place in the NFC South with 6 wins and 11 losses.
Shut up.
Winning percentage of 35%.
Shut up. 6-11, right? They had a 4-game winning streak to end the season, right? They ended the season on a 4-game win streak once rookie Taylor, I forgot how to say his name because you don't say his name like how it sounds. Say his name. Tyler. What's his name? Say it. What's the name of the New Orleans Saints quarterback? Bitch, why you ain't say it? Let's try it again. What's the name of the New Orleans Saints starting quarterback?
The starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints is Tyler Show.
Oh, it is Tyler Show. What the fuck was I thinking? It's Tyler Show. He was a draft pick in 2025 and became the starter late in the season because they sucked. And I want to say 4 straight games once he became a starter. Last 4 games of the season, always. Shut up. New Orleans Saints 2025 schedule and results. What am I looking at? Regular season. They had a 5-game win streak. So they ended their season. It was 6-11, but 5 of those games came in the last 8 weeks. So even though the record says 6-11, the trajectory of the team going into the offseason was trending up, especially once Tyler Show became the starter. He won 4 straight games. He won at Tampa Bay versus at home against Carolina. He beat the Jets and then beat Tennessee and lost to Atlanta in a shootout where he had 259 yards passing. He also had 333 yards against the Titans, 300 yards against the Jets. As he was starting to get rolling, he actually became the starter in early November. And as a starter, he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8, 5 and 9 as a starter. 5 of the wins came with the rookie quarterback. So going to the off season with that confidence, I'm the starter. I like what I did. We like what you did. We think you're gonna be better. Just that confidence alone in your quarterback, that confidence that he has coming into the off season. If he can win, if he can go 5 and 4 as a starter, as a rookie, he can easily go 7 and 9, 8 and 9, and be challenging for the playoffs. That's 2 more wins, 3 more wins, as with him as the starter, and the team have some stability in being able to build from there. So, can the Washington Commanders make the playoffs? Yeah, they got more than enough talent to make the playoffs. Is it a lock? No. 7 teams that made it last season can still make it. Dallas, Detroit, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, New Orleans. They are competing for 2 wild card. They compete with 2 wild card spots amongst, what did I just say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 teams. They are one of 9 teams that will be competing for 2 wild card spots. I'm sorry, 3 wild card spots. When a division you win, right? Ain't that easy? You got Super Bowl champs of 2025 in your division that won the division. We already talked about Dallas, who could win the division that you're competing against. But make sure you don't sleep on the Giants. John Harbaugh coming over from the Baltimore Ravens with Scatterboo, that defense. Malik Neighbors was going to get healthy, and Jackson Dart having a season on his belt, and now John Harbaugh is his coach. Don't let the record from last year fool. The Giants will compete. That's not an easy win. If you beat the Giants, it is not going to be an easy win. Just to let you know. So that's the football side of things. The basketball side, we was a little bit more size. At least Washington had some success, and we know that success from last season was because of injuries to our top guys. The Wizards have been building this roster of young players since 2023 when they got their new GM, Will Dawkins. And he does a great job. Drafted Bilal Coulibaly his first year. Alex Sarr, Bub Currington, Keyshawn George in the second year. Made a lot of trades and got rid of old players from the old team. And got a lot of draft picks in return. So there's 4 draft picks in the first 2 seasons. Then he comes back in 2025 and gets Will Riley and Trey Johnson. He has 6 draft picks that we're building this team around, right? We also make a trade and get Cam Whitmore, who was also on a rookie deal from Houston. We got 7 players, first round picks. Building around, right? We losing. Everybody fans kind of frustrated, but they just pushing. We'll keep moving. We'll keep building. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Trae Young drops in our lap. Be like, fuck, we got Trey Jones. I'm sorry, Trey Young. Yeah, we got Trey Young. My camera on my camera back straight. So he adds some veteran leadership. Somebody that can score 25 plus points, give you 10 rebounds, make it easier for the young bucks to get buckets because he's able to distribute the ball. Um, he's one of the best in the league at distributing the ball. But then for some damn reason, we get Anthony Davis. What is going on in Washington? Now you add another player that, if healthy, again, this is based on if everybody's healthy, is 25 and 12. He's gonna give you 25 on a regular. Every other night, he might give you 30, 15 boards, 12 boards, 2, 3 blocks. The man is a walking stat filler when he's on the court. You got all these young players that are talented. The rookies, the Rising Stars game, out of was it 24 players? From 24 players, first and second year players, over 30 teams, 4 were from the Wizards. And that's after one of the players had to drop out because of injury. Alex Sarr was supposed to be in the Rising Stars game. He stepped out because of an injury and was replaced by another Wizard because we just have that much fucking talent. Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson, Love Currington, Will Riley. And that's after Sarr had to back out because of injury. So you add Trey and Davis to all of this young talent. Oh, we get the number 1 pick? Oh shit. Now we throw in AJ DeBanster. You throw in his talent and his skill, and with the other youngins, with Trey and Anthony Davis, and we become the talk of the NBA for a hot second. Between the time we got the number 1 pick and the time obviously we drafted him, and then we saw what he was doing in summer league. People was like, hold up. Then we saw all the Wizards in Las Vegas. The whole team is in Las Vegas. Not only coming to check out their team in the Las Vegas Summer League, they're in Las Vegas working out as a team. You see pictures and videos of them as a team in Wizards gear, not just like, oh yeah, we just going to get together and shoot around and work out. No, the franchise is saying we're going to make sure whatever work we doing in the off season does not stop because we in Vegas. Oh no, coaches, all that stuff. Oh, everybody flying Las Vegas. We taking trainers, basketballs, jerseys, uniforms, practice gear. All that stuff is going with us to Las Vegas, and the work does not stop. And that just gives you more evidence of, one, the culture change in Washington for the Wizards, and 2, it shows how dedicated they are. 3, it shows how much they enjoy being around each other and building what they're building. Can they make the playoffs though? That is the question. Can they make the playoffs? They can. It's not going to be easy. Let's first look at the Eastern Conference playoff teams from 2026. NBA playoff teams of 2026. Yeah, the New York Knicks won the championship, right? So you always got to deal with that. First round. You also have the Pistons, who were the number 1 seed last year. The Celtics, number 2. Knicks was number 3. 4 was Cavaliers. 5 was the Raptors. 6 was the Hawks. 7 was the Trailblazers. 8 was Orlando Magic. Right? Is any of that going to change? Not likely. The Pistons are still the Pistons. They still trying to re-sign Jalen Duren, who's a restricted free agent. That's probably going to happen. He was an all-star last year. You moved on from Tobias Harris and got a younger, more athletic, better scorer in John Collins, right? So Pistons ain't going nowhere. Knicks again, the champion. They brought back pretty much the whole team. Instead of Mitchell Robinson, they replaced Mitchell Robinson with Andre Drummond. So they're good. The Celtics, despite trading Jaylen Brown, they get back Jason Tatum. So it's like, okay, we had Brown without Tatum, and we was the number 3 seed. So we can move Brown and still have Tatum and still be a number 3 seed. But they didn't just move Brown to move Brown. They moved Brown and traded him to Philly and got Paul George in return. So now you got Tatum, that's a legit number 1. Paul George, a very good number 2. They still try to figure out what they're going to do about their post players. They got Mitchell Robinson. He's a role player. He's a defender, a rebounder, but you ain't getting a lot of scoring. But it's okay. They cleared some money, took care of some needs, have some flexibility for the future, money-wise, right? So they good. That's 3 teams. The number 4 team was the Cavaliers. Where they going? James Harden is coming back. Well, James Harden opted out, but he's expected to resign. It was said that Harden opted out so they can have money to sign LeBron, and now that LeBron is signed, at some point they'll resign Harden, or Harden might just say "fuck him" and sign somewhere else. Who knows? So they ain't going nowhere. They pretty much still got all the starters. You're gonna have Harden for the whole season instead of just half the season. And then you have the Raptors. The Raptors. The Raptors was the number 5 seed, and they took the Cavaliers 7 games. But that was a team that did not have 2019 Finals MVP, Kawhi Leonard. The same Kawhi Leonard that came to Toronto for 1 year in 2018, 2019, and just took them to a championship. Now, granted, it was against the Golden State Warriors, who lost Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson to injury, but they still won. They still got there. You know what I mean? They still got there. Even if everybody was healthy and they lost, they still got there. You get that Kawhi back. You get a better Kawhi. Kawhi now in 2026, 2027 is a better player than he was in 18, 19. You get him, you lose Brandon Ingram, but that's an upgrade. So if you was a number 5 seed with Brandon Ingram, oh, you know you are locked for the playoffs with Kawhi. That's fine. Number 6, Atlanta Hawks. Jalen Johnson. They re-signed CJ McCollum. Everybody's just getting better, Mo. They got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the reigning MVP. Most improved player. Atlanta Hawks roster.
The Atlanta Hawks have 4 athletes on its roster. Here for the
they
first
got Aaron
3.
Wiggins. That's what they traded for. They traded to get Aaron Wiggins from the OKC Thunder. So they still add some more depth in the backcourt. Where are they going? Number 7, Philadelphia 76ers. Should I say anything? We know they was a 7 seed last year with Paul George, Maxey, Vijay Edcombe, and with Embiid only playing like 38 games. He averaged 20. Hold on, make sure I get it right. Joel Embiid, 26.9. He averaged 26.9 last season. And he didn't even play the whole season. He played 38 games. And in the 38 games he played, he averaged 26.9. If he can give you 55 games at 27, He don't even need 27. You need him to be in, Jalen to be Jalen, Maxie to be Maxie, Edgecombe to be Edgecombe, and then just let LeBron speak with this shit. Everybody keeps saying the Knicks is the champions, so they're gonna be the champions until somebody beat them. No, they are the champions of the 2026 finals. New Year, son. Teams make changes. Teams get better. That team got better. The Wizards alone, with their improvements with Davis, Young, and Devasta, to me, are just as good as the Knicks. Somebody had a conversation, oh, the Wizards are not as good as the Knicks. I'm like, can we go like player for player? Just go player for player. Jalen Brunson averages 20 what? Let's talk. Come on, co-host. Google lady co-host. Jalen Brunson. Not Gina Preston. Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson averaged 26. Trae Young. He averaged 17.9, but that was in 20 games and dealing with injury. But versus the Knicks, I looked this up, having this conversation on Facebook with this guy, and he was like, oh, Trae Young played like shit against the Knicks. Oh, well, let me just look this up. Against the Knicks, Trey Johnson, take out last year because he had injuries and shit. The 3 seasons before last season, Trae Young averaged 27 and 10 against the Knicks. And I was just looking at, okay, the years Jalen Brunson was there. 27 and 6, 27 and 10 versus the Knicks over the time frame that Jalen Brunson was there. And even last season when he was playing with injuries, he averaged 20 and 10. With injuries, he's averaging 20 and 10 against the Knicks. So you got Hart, and then you got Keyshawn George. Josh Hart, he averages 12. Keyshawn George averages 14.8. So you got Brunson and Trae that's going to kind of cancel each other out. Brunson, a bucket better. OG Anunoby, he averages 16.7. Okay. Then we go with AJ Devasta. Obviously, he's a rookie, but we can assume that AJ Devasta can score 16 points on any team. Even if he was on a bum ass team when he was a number 1 option as a rookie. Cooper Flagg averaged 20. Do you think if Cooper Flagg can average 20, that Devasta can't average 20? He can average 16.7. Especially on a team where he won't be the focal point. You got 2 other all-stars, 2 other young superstars, up-and-coming stars. You don't need, you're going to get one-on-one. You ain't going to get double team. AJ going to be one-on-one against anybody. And against OG, why can't he score 16 points and match OG shot for shot? Mikal Bridges. This way it gets interesting. Because Mikal Bridges, their starting 5, Mikal Bridges, I guess you would call him a small ball 4. He's 6'6". OG, I believe, is 6'6", 6'7". But this thing, you got to go up against. Okay, we ain't going to do that. I would say he got to go up against Davis. We ain't going to put him against Davis. We're going to put him against Alex Sarr. So 7-foot Alex Sarr, 6'6", Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges averaged 14.4. Alexander Sarr. I didn't say Czar. This motherfucker's Alexander Czar. Is it my accent? My DC accent work with him? He averaged 16.3. And that's after having some off games because of some injuries going into the All-Star game. Before the All-Star game, we get from the start of the season through the first of the year, Alex was averaging about 17, 18. Why can't he continue to average 17, 18? So let's do this. Karl Anthony Towns. He averaged 20 points last year and 11.8 rebounds, right? Anthony Davis. Last season, even with injuries, same thing, 20 points a game. So he averages 20, Towns averaged 20. 27 for Brunson, 27 for Young. But then everybody else, whether it's Alex Sarr, whether it's Keyshawn George, or what potentially AJ Demancic can do, they're outperforming Josh Hart, Bridges, and OG. So just looking at the starting five and what they're capable of producing from either what they've done in recent seasons with their talent, which you assume they can do based on their talent. Looking at AJ Demancic, why couldn't they beat the Knicks? They can beat them in one game. We're going to beat them in series. That's another story. So let's get back to the other teams. So right now we got 7 teams. Orlando Magic. Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner averaged 20 points per game, right? For Orlando, who's the AFC, right? But Franz Wagner only played 34 games last year. A healthy Franz with Desmond Bane, with Paolo Banchero, should still be AFC, right? So now you look and say, okay, that's the 8 teams, so we got to be better than one of these teams. But no, that's not it. That's not all. NBA standings 2025-2026. So in 2025-2026, you have those eight teams who made the playoffs, right? But you had Charlotte and Miami that was in the play-in. Miami's better. Charlotte, despite trading LaMelo, is better. You get better up front with Naz Reid. You got Kobe White at point guard, who's more of a pass-first point guard, who's just going to give it to Conker Nipple and Brandon Williams. And then you got a legit veteran big man, former most valuable player in Naz Reid up front. They got better. How much better? They at least got good enough to still be a play-in team at 6, 7, 8 seed. You know what I mean? Now, last year's playoffs, the number 5 seed had 46 wins. The number 10 seed in the play-in, Miami, had 43 wins. It was a 3-game difference between 5 and 10, which means any one of those teams could have made the playoffs or been bounced out of the playoffs. Indiana will be better. They played last season without Halliburton, 19-63. They ain't gonna be 19-63 this year with Halliburton. And they got Zubac that they got in trade last year. So pretty much the team you saw in the 2025 playoffs, they're gonna be that. Then you have what did I just say? That's it. Milwaukee will be better. How much better? Not sure. Yes, they lost Giannis, but I think the collection of talent that they have with Miles Turner, who's a former All-Star, Tyler Hero, who's a former All-Star, Kyle Kuzma is a solid role player. Kevin Porter Jr. is a solid role player, a solid starter. They could put that talent together. They can put that talent together with some good coaching and be competitive, at the very least competitive. So out of 8 spots, the 8 teams that made it last year: Detroit, Boston, New York, Cleveland, Toronto, Atlanta, Philly, Orlando. They should be a good chance. Nobody's really got worse from last season. And any team that you might think aren't as good as they were last year aren't so bad that they're still not a playoff team. They probably was a 2 seed and then dropped to a 4 seed, something like that. You can look at Boston and be like, oh, maybe Boston not going to be as good as they usually are because they don't have Brown and Paul George is not as good as Brown. Okay, I give you that. But Paul George doesn't drop you out of the playoffs. Then you look at, like I said, Charlotte, who's the number 9 seed going to the play-in, who at 44 wins was the best team in the East from like January 15th to April 15th. Should still be a winning team. 40 plus wins. They had 44 last win. They should at least be at their 44 to 46. Again, 46 wins was Toronto and Atlanta last year. Charlotte can win 2 more games and be in that 5-6 situation. Miami, 43 wins last year. Giannis is going to put them up at 53. New York had 53 wins, number 3 seed. He's going to put them up in that top 4 spot with Detroit, Boston, New York. Then again, that's 10 teams. Then you got Indiana. That's 11 teams. And Washington could be a team with so much talent and still not make it to the playoffs because of all the great teams that they're competing against. 10 teams, 11 teams that could make the playoffs, and it's only 8 spots. We are competing for 8 spots with 11 legit playoff teams. And again, if everybody's healthy, LeBron is healthy, Harden's healthy, Brunson's healthy, Cunningham's healthy, Kawhi's healthy, Jalen Johnson's healthy, Paolo Banchero's healthy, Giannis is healthy, Concanipola is healthy. Who else is in the East that I didn't say? I didn't say everybody. Jason Tatum is healthy. And they're leading their teams. It is not going to be easy. Can they do it? Yes. Will it be easy to do? Fuck no. I'm a Wizards fan. I would love to see my team in the playoffs. I would love to be in the playoffs. I would love for the Washington Wizards to have to postpone next summer's renovations because we playing games. Usually when the season's over, the last 2 summers, the Washington Wizards have been renovating Capital One Arena. So once the season is over, from mid-April until mid-October, late September, mid-October, they're doing construction. If you go down Chinatown, you'll see all the tarp, the scaffolding and everything as they're making changes throughout the next couple of summers, 25, 26, and I believe 27. I would like to postpone that until June 2027 because we make it to the playoffs and we can't do the renovations because we still got games to play. I want the Wizards to be playing in late April, early May at the very least. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm praying for. I could have swallowed. I said I'm gonna just be real quick with this. I never am. It's your sports talk. I'm the one and only Super Tim. If you want to talk sports in the nation's capital of the District of Columbia, hit me up on Instagram. What up, Super? And if you want to talk sports, if you a player, a coach, you want to be on the platform so that people can see you and hear your story, hit me up. What up, Super? And we'll go from there. Everybody is welcome on Super Radio. Everybody's welcome to tell their story. The one on Super Tim. If you want to talk sports, music, movies, TV, community, politics, it depends. Politics is the only thing that I'm like, okay, what exactly do you want to talk about? Because everything about politics ain't everything I want to even listen to. I don't really want to listen to. If you do a podcast with me, I want to be able to listen to you on my podcast. Like I want to be like, even if it wasn't my podcast, I still want to hear your story. I don't want to talk about politics when it's just a bunch of Trump this and Trump that, Trump, and this conspiracy or Trump. Nope, not doing it. Not on my show. Anything else? that's relevant, especially if it's relevant to the Black community. It's logical, factual, not no conspiracy shit. I ain't doing all that. We can talk politics if it's real politics. It's not controversial, narrative based conspiracy shit. Talk politics that's going to educate the Black community on what's going on, what we can do better as a community with politics, through politics. That's the only rules I have. Anything else, we can talk. I got a show forward, or we can create a show forward. So, until that time, on that note, as we like to say, catch me in the streets, catch me in the studio, catch me online. You ain't there, you ain't nowhere. I'm the one on Super Simp, and I'm out.